And welcome to the Flyers pregame show. Game day, Brian Smith, Jason Martinez, Flyers, Devils tonight. Two teams that are tied in points in the standings, although the Devils have played one less game. And I can't think of a better way to start this pregame show, Brian, than to simply state today would be a good day to get a win to end a losing streak.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up, doesn't it? I mean, this team right now is just kind of I don't want to use the word floundering because I think that's too harsh, but they're just kind of in neutral at the moment. They're spinning the wheels a little bit. They are having trouble getting things going, obviously, and on the offensive side. That's been going on for a while, but now they've got injuries to deal with. They just keep cropping up. So, this is a game where the Flyers, I would really like to see them get a win just to help their general psyche, if nothing else, just to kind of get the ship at least pointing in the right direction, if not moving a little bit in the right direction, especially since now with the postponement on Tuesday, they got a couple of days off here where a win could really kind of put some wind in their sails here before the Rangers on Wednesday.
Yeah, and that Islander game, the Islanders had a few games postponed, a la the Senators, who had that about a week ago, who were off for a week because the cases within the team and amongst the staff were getting a little too out of control. So let's keep everybody apart. Let's get our arms around this. And it would have been a good time to get a hold of a team like the Islanders, perhaps, as they've lost 7 straight, but not to be. And you just mentioned injuries. Nate Thompson is now out of the lineup as well. Connor Bunneman will move into the center position on that fourth line. But I want to just point out something that I heard Claude Giroux say in his post-game availability after the last game on Friday, Black Friday, against Carolina. Somebody asked him in his availability if the injuries are catching up with the team. And he said, those are just excuses. And that's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I think, always what you're going to hear. The idea of asking any hockey player if anything is a reason for anything is usually going to be met with a response like that. I did see one quote from Sean Couturier. I wasn't sure if it was today or yesterday, but about the same sort of subject. And it was an even better response, I thought, from Coots. He said that, even if Ryan Ellis and Kevin Hayes were healthy right now, he wasn't sure it would matter because of the way the team has found ways to give away games. And that's not my evaluation or anything. That's what he said. Just in terms of some of the things they've been doing that have kind of shot themselves in the foot in the last week or so. I don't personally view it as harsh as the Flyers have been giving away games, but they've definitely been making mistakes that have been difficult to recover from. But I think that you're right. You want to see the team taking ownership. Everybody is taking ownership across the board. Alain Vigneault did so after the game the other night at Wells Fargo Center. There's a lot of pride in the room, and they want to see this thing going the right way. So that's again the mindset to have. And again, it's just head down, forward, easy plays, greasy goals, all that stuff that you use to break a slump is what the Flyers want to start doing tonight in an effort to break a bit of a slump.
And a good way to do that is to do one thing that they have done very well this season, which is start out good and play a really good first period and come out of it with a lead. They did that against Carolina on the Joel Farabee shorthanded goal to give them the 2-1 lead. Now, they couldn't follow it up. Second period's been a bit of a bugaboo, but the first period's paramount in this game. You're on the road, play a boring road game, find a way to, like you said, get those greasy goals, one off the rump. Whatever you got to do, you'll take it because they all count the same.
Yeah, and it is kind of quizzical to me that the problem the Flyers have had in the last few years, which has been the first periods, it's now shifted to the second periods. The first periods have been great. Second periods, Flyers have given up 25 goals this year. And that's compared for frame of reference. That's compared to giving up 11 in the first and 16 in the third. Now, in looking at those numbers, you see that the New Jersey Devils have given up 25 goals or rather they've scored 25 goals this year in the third period. So this is a pretty solid New Jersey third period team. So the Flyers are going to have to kind of try to quell that a little bit. They probably, to an extent, know that it's coming. But this is a team in New Jersey right now that also has not started very well in games over the course of the season, but they finished very well. So that is a little bit of a wrinkle coming at the Flyers tonight.
Yeah, the Flyers' best period from a goal differential standpoint, +5 with first period, 16 goals for, 11 allowed. Their worst period is the second, where they're -9, 25 goals allowed and 14 scored. Actually, that's 11. And then the third period's a dead heat at 16 all, goals for and goals allowed. And the Flyers are going to need to come off with a good start here tonight, because when they do score first, they do have a record of 6-1-3 and a 3-0-1 record on the road. So that first goal is going to be paramount. Nate Thompson out, you lose a penalty killer. Connor Bunneman moves, who did play the last game, had a great scoring chance as well. But he moves into that center position. So I imagine, the Flyers PK has been a bright spot for him. I think it's ranked 12th or 13th in the NHL.
Yeah.
So imagine maybe Connor Bunneman sees a little bit of PK time.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's probably ready for it. He's been at this a while at the pro level. Obviously, he didn't have a ton of games as a Flyer, but he's got a bunch of games in the American Hockey League. He's been part of the PK there. So, it's a good it's a good opportunity for him to show what he can do in that role. It's again, like you said, I think the next man up kind of mentality, and that's what they're getting here from Connor Bunneman, is an opportunity to hop in here and kind of grab the bull by the horn, so to speak, and help keep the Flyers going the right way. I don't you don't wish for any injuries at all, obviously, ever. But the Flyers' fourth line had not been very sharp the last 4 games, so it might be an opportunity here, again, forced by injury, but you do have the opportunity to mix it up a little bit. You get we've had Bunneman for some games, we've had Willman for some games, now we get them together, so we'll get a chance to see what this group looks like as a line, and just hope the best for Nate Thompson, because what Elaine Vigneault has been talking about doesn't sound promising with this shoulder injury. So you hope the best for him, and you hope the best for the guys that are going to come in and fill his spot until he's back.
New Jersey is a team that a lot of us didn't maybe expect to have a good year. Maybe it was a year too early. They made the signing of Dougie Hamilton in the offseason. They're off to that 8-6-4 start, 20 points, tied with the Flyers in points. They have lost their last 2, and they've lost 5 of their last, I think, 6 games or 7 games. But they're a team, in the middle of the pack when it comes to scoring. They're 16th in the NHL at 2.83 goals per game. When it comes to goals allowed, and we always think of New Jersey as that team that doesn't allow any goals, but they're 16th there as well, giving up 2.94 goals per game. Flyers, the bugaboo has been scoring, and they need guys to step up. Elaine Vigneault said, it's on me, but there's some guys that I think can play better as well. Flyers right now 26th in the NHL in scoring, and part of it, in the beginning of the year when Ryan Ellis played, he's only played 4 of the 19 games that the Flyers have played, but they look like a faster team the way he can get that first pass out of the zone and stretch the ice, and they can get up a lot faster. But there are guys on this team like James Van Riemsdyk, other guys that need to score. Cam Atkinson's been kind of streaky. He's got 7 goals, but he has been streaky this season. So they need some guys to step up and support that top line that's done the majority of the heavy lifting, and that's not enough.
Yeah, I mean, the goal situation for this team against has not been terrible. In terms of average goals allowed per game on the season, the Flyers are 13th, which is obviously top half. You want to be a little better than that, but they're under 3, and it's even a little bit better than that in the last 16 games here. That's when you take the 4-game homestand out of it, the last, I think it's 15 games now that the Flyers have had the offensive struggles. Their defensive play has not been that bad. So we've talked about it in the last game that the defense kind of started to lose their edge, it seemed like, in the last 3 or 4 games. So they want to fix that, but obviously right now this team needs to fix the scoring. It needs to find a way to find the back of the net a little more often.
The cost of defense, right?
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to give up a bunch of chances the other way because you are trying to push and score goals. It's really probably just a matter of executing whatever is in place for the Flyers in terms of their systems. They have systems in place that worked really well for the first 4 games, and then it kind of fell off from there. So it is kind of disturbing to look at the overall scoring for the team during that stretch. I think Flo Giroux's got 13 points in 15 games, and Sean Couturier's got 8. Nobody else has more than 6. And there's a lot of guys at the bottom of the chart there with 3-4 points in 15 games that are supposed to be the guys that help carry the offense this year. So I'm sure it's a little bit of an individual thing. You look in the mirror a little bit and figure out what you can do better, and it's also a little bit of a group execution thing But like we had been saying over the past few games, Flyers just went through a bit of a murderer's row of a schedule. This is the first game in probably 2 weeks that it's a little bit of a breather. And so, we'll see what they can do tonight against this New Jersey team that obviously has been playing very well as of late, but might be a little bit of an easier lift than the Carolinas and Tampa Bays of the world the Flyers have played the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, the last game Martin Jones played was that 2-1 overtime loss against the Florida Panthers. He'll be in net tonight. We'll preview the goaltending matchup coming up. Stay tuned. We'll take a quick timeout. We're back on Flyers Game Day right after this. You're listening to Philadelphia Flyers Hockey on the BetRivers.com Flyers Broadcast Network. And we're back as the Philadelphia Flyers are set to take on the New Jersey Devils. Tim Saunders and Steve Coates will have the call at the top of the hour from the Rock, the Prudential Center. The goaltending matchup tonight, Bri, is Mackenzie Blackwood, 25-year-old netminder for the New Jersey Devils. He's played in 7 games this season, about a record of 3-1-2, 284 goals against average, and a pretty gaudy .922 save percentage. And he will go up against Martin Jones, who gets the start tonight. He was excellent in his last game against Florida. And Martin Jones has played in 6 games, a record of 3-2-1, 267 goals against average, and a .927 save percentage. I don't know if I guess Jonathan Bernier is considered the starter in New Jersey now, that signing in the offseason, and because it looks like that Mackenzie Blackwood's gotten less games.
Yeah, it was a little bit of an interesting signing there when Bernier came in. You already had Blackwood. He had been kind of, I think, tabbed as the goalie of the future in New Jersey, and for whatever reason, they decided that Bernier was a good fit with them. I assumed that when they brought him in, it was to be a veteran backup, kind of like the Flyers did with Martin Jones. But Bernier
paid him a lot of money, though.
Yeah, I mean, kind of taking it and run with it. I guess I don't know exactly what the breakdown is between the two of them, but I know that Jones, for whatever reason, likes what he sees against the New Jersey Devils. 7-3-0 in his career, 1.66 goals against average, and 2 shutouts against this team. So it's it's a good matchup for him, I guess. The Flyers saw this team a lot last year, 4-4 in the 8-game series between the two teams, and obviously Carter Hart is familiar with them from that. But it's a good spot to get Jones, I think, in there because he's definitely shown some good play as of late. And again, coming up here in December, there's going to be a lot of travel, a lot of some back-to-backs. We don't know where this Islanders game is going to go. They're supposed to be a back-to-back this week, Tuesday, Wednesday. But they're going to need both guys to stay sharp. So getting Jones in there, when the Flyers not necessarily need to run their backup goaltender, but just to give him some minutes and keep him going is probably the right thing to do.
And you look at New Jersey in their last 6 games, they've lost 5 of their last 6, although 2 of those losses were in the shootout. So they grabbed a point in those 2 games. Lost to Boston 5-2, lost in the shootout to the Rangers. They had a game postponed against Ottawa, but 4-1 loss against the Florida Panthers. And then they went down and they beat Tampa Bay 5-3. Had a shootout loss to the Minnesota Wild, and they lost to Nashville in their last game. Jonathan Bernier got the start in that one. And they still have another game coming up on Tuesday to round out the month of November. The Flyers will end the month of November with this game tonight now because Tuesday's game is postponed. They'll kick off December with the Rangers coming up this week, and they're off to a good start to the season as well. But I'd love to see a little run support for the goalies. So take a little bit of the stress off the situation that there's no margin for error in a 1-goal game that's the pressure cooker.
And this is a New Jersey team that obviously it's long past the Lou Lamoriello era and long past the neutral zone trap and stuff like that, but they're always still a tough out for the Flyers for whatever reason. And the Prudential Center is it's no Brendan Byrne Arena of past years or places where the Flyers have had like a house of horrors, but it's not that hasn't been their most successful place either. So it's I really feel like this offense is on the cusp of just breaking out of this slump, and I don't know exactly what it's going to take. Like you said, a couple of goals off the rear end or whatever, just to kind of get things going. But I feel like once these guys start scoring, they're all going to kind of break out of it a little bit, and so it's just a matter, I think, of seeing what it takes to do that, and then maybe this is the night that one or more of them just kind of breaks through and they start coming in bunches.
Well, for guys that are scorers, it is a confidence game. And every guy that's a scorer is by nature streaky. Nobody's going to go through a whole season with consistent scoring. And one of the guys that is getting that back was really good in the beginning of the year, hit a rough patch, and then has picked it up in his last 2 games and has a goal in each. And that's Joel Farabee. And he's got to be a big part of it as well. Had the beautiful shorthanded goal in the last game, had the goal against Sergei Bobrovsky where he got in behind the Panther defense and opened him up and scored on him that way. So that's a big thing. But, guys like James Van Riemsdyk, when they do get confident, they do score in bunches. They're streaky, but when they do, it can come in bunches, and he's got 2 on the year.
And to what I was alluding to earlier, this last 15-game stretch, this goes back to October 24th, which was the day after the 4-game homestand ended. Just some of the individual numbers through 15 games that you know that these guys have more than this, and it's just when's it going to come out. Starting at really the top of it is Cam Atkinson and Travis Konecny, 6 points each in 15 games. James Van Riemsdyk, 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points in 15 games. Joel Farabee's got those 3 goals all recently. That's all the points he's got in the last 15 games. But again, that's all recent, and you can kind of see maybe he's starting to break out of it a little bit. Scott Lawton, a guy that you're not necessarily going to get a ton of offense from, but is good for 20 to 30 points a year. 2 goals and assists, 3 points in 15 games. And then you go a little bit further down, and it's all the defense. The Flyers in the past have gotten points from their defense on a fairly regular basis, but that has not been happening as of late, with the lone exception of Ivan Provorov in that 15-game stretch, 6 points on 2 goals and 4 assists. Ristolainen's got 4 points, but everybody else is 2 or below that. And then we've been talking about Oscar Lindblom and everything that he's dealing with, just still trying probably maybe to find his game a little bit, but he has not had a single point in the last 15-game stretch. He only played 14 of them. He was a healthy scratch that one night. So he's still looking to kind of get himself situated and get headed in the right direction. So there's a lot of potential there for a lot of offense to kind of come back right now. And given where the Flyers are, I think 2 or 4 points out of a wild card spot, despite what they've gone through the last 5 games, they might be poised to really kind of make a run up the standings here if they can get some of these guys going. So that's kind of what we're hoping to see as a start tonight.
Yeah, no, and all not at the cost of the defensive structure.
Right.
Can't have guys fly in the zone. Saw that last year, and the result's not good. Let's take another break. We'll come back. We'll count it down to the face-off between the Flyers and the Devils. Tim Saunders and Steve Coates are standing by. We're back after this on Flyers Game Day on the BetRivers.com Flyers Broadcast Network. Flyers Devils tonight. These two teams have played 250 times, Brian.
Yeah, we're starting to creep up there. The Flyers played the Rangers for the 300th time, either at the end of 1920 or beginning of 2021, and then they played the Penguins for the 300th time sometime I think it was at the end of last season. We're all getting old. You know,
When
and,
they
and
first
the,
came in.
you know, the Devils, I mean, only been around since 1982, right? So
Yep.
I don't know. I can't remember if that number includes the Rockies and the Scouts. It might. It must, really. It couldn't have played them 250 times since 82. So it's
all-time record of 128, 99, 15,
Yeah.
and 8 for the Devils.
that probably includes, especially Kansas City. Flyers used to kick the hell out of Kansas City on a routine basis. You know, and then the franchise ended up in Colorado and then New Jersey. But I think I stopped putting the New Jersey record in there because it wasn't as good as the other ones.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's interesting because the postseason results is they're 14-14 against each other.
Yeah,
They've only 5 times they faced it in playoffs.
I was going to say that's probably all the New Jersey Devils. There probably isn't any other franchises in there. I mean, you know, the Flyers, you know, and I like to look at the Flyers playoff history and think that you know they should have maybe 5 or 6 cups. And 2 of the years that I look at that they should have maybe won were years they didn't get past the Devils in the conference finals.
Yeah.
1995 being one of them. And then you know, I think it was maybe 2000. Yeah, 2000. Yeah, so that was the, you know, they get by them in those 2 and they're off and running. And you know, so it's that's what I was talking about earlier with the old Blue Amarillo hockey and the neutral zone trap. I mean, all those things gave the Flyers fits against the Devils in those eras. So it's a different team now, obviously, but it's still always a tough out for the Flyers.
I look at 2004 as well, where they took Tampa to a 7th game, and Tampa wanted to beat Calgary. Yeah, that's another
6.
one.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of crazy because you know, the Flyers in some of those years where they didn't make it out of the conference finals, really that was the matchup. The Eastern Conference Final was the best 2 teams that were left in the playoffs, and then the winner of that went on to have a pretty easy time in the finals. So it's I think Rich Hoffman from the Daily News once said it best in my view, is that the Flyers should have won at least one more cup by accident by now.
Yeah,
but it's just
sometimes it's not that. It's not you get there, but it's who you play. 76, they go back and they face the Canadians, who win 4 straight. 80, the Islanders, they win 4 straight. 85 and 87, how about the Oilers 4 and 5 years?
And 97, they take the Oilers in 87 with Tim Kerr, in my opinion.
Yeah. And then 97, you get Detroit, who wins 3 in 5 years. And then 2010, you get the first of Chicago of 3 in 5 years. It's fascinating.
Bad timing.
It's not only that you get there, it's who you play when you get there. And a lot of those teams, I haven't found a comparable in any sport that comes even close to that, where you have that kind of situation where you kind of face a dynasty or a sliding scale of a dynasty through all those years. But it's the Flyers and the Devils tonight. You got one guy, spotlight guy, real quick, 10 seconds.
I mean, I think Morgan Frost is looked really good in the couple of games he's been in so far. I see him taking another step tonight, getting more comfortable, and maybe taking the jump here.
All right, and I'll take Travis Sanheim. He's been a guy that's he had a great scoring chance in that last game, but he got hooked and hit the post. But I'll take Sanheim tonight as a spotlight player, and maybe perhaps the difference in this one. Stay tuned. Tim Saunders and Steve Coates, they've got the countdown to face off and all the first period action of the Flyers and Devils from the Prudential Center. You'll be listening to Flyers Game Day on the BetRivers.com Flyers Broadcast Network. Enjoy your hockey, everybody. All right, everybody on the stream. By the way, that is for the guy that asked the question. Don, that is not a Martin behind me, unfortunately. I didn't hit the lotto. I wish that was a Martin guitar behind me.
Hang on a minute. You can't hear me.
But
sorry, you can't hear me. I've been talking. I have video cast up, and the degree to which there is nobody at this game is somewhat troubling.
Really? Wonder why.
I mean, there's this Hockey Fight Cancer tonight there, and they've got the cards on the seats, and I see way more cards than I do people. Yeah, but it is a Sunday night in Newark. Maybe it's just people.
Giants played. They played the Giants today. Eagles played the Giants up there too. So
yeah, it's not very far away, is it? I don't know the exact geography, but a lot of people with other things to do maybe today. I don't know.
Perhaps.
Hopefully, it's just a late arriving crowd.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching on the stream. Goodbye.
Yep. Have a good night.